Near the courtyard where I grew up, there was an old abandoned barracks. The windows had been smashed long ago. The boards had rotted and caved in, and everything metal was covered in rust. Once, it had been a home for workers, but over time, those workers grew old and passed away, leaving the huge wooden structure to rot in the sun and cold, forgotten. As kids, we loved to explore its cold, dark hallways, imagining ghosts or dangerous rats lurking in every corner. We even played a game called Ghost Tenants. One group of kids would be the ghosts, and the others would be the tenants, and the ghosts would try to scare the tenants as much as possible. The winners earned rare chips. Going into the building at night was a big deal, and those who dared were called heroes for days afterward. I was never a hero. We spent a lot of time there. My parents did not like it. I often heard my mother say, "Don't go there again, or you will step on a syringe and get infected. Do you want to die? Or a tramp will grab you and sell you away, and you will never return." I guess that was supposed to scare me. I would just reply, "I won't," and an hour later, I would be sneaking through the moldy, mouse-smelling corridors, listening for every creak, with other kids just as foolish as me. When a creak echoed through the hall, we would all jump and laugh. What if there really was a ghost? A real one that would appear from some dark corner and drag us away. A few times, I even got a good beating from disobeying. But despite all of that, we never saw any ghosts. There was, however, one event that stuck with us forever. I had a friend named Tetsuya. I don't remember what he looked like, but I remember one summer day when he nearly burst into my room, saying, "Let's go, I want to show you something." Tetsuya was always joking and setting up pranks, but this time, he seemed unusually excited. His enthusiasm piqued my curiosity, so I decided to follow him. Still, I hesitated, looking around and thinking, I hope this is not some kind of trap. But then I decided, oh well, let him try. Tetsuya kept walking quickly, practically bouncing, urging me, "Hurry up, come on. Why are you walking like a turtle? There is something amazing to see." "What is it?" I asked. "You will see," he squealed, running ahead. "You will be amazed. Hurry." Before long, we reached the barrack. Without hesitation, Tetsuya darted inside through a dark, moldy opening. I hesitated. What if it was a trap? Trusting him might cost me. But when Tetsuya shouted, "Come on, get in here. What are you waiting for?" I followed him. We went down to the basement, and Tetsuya said, "There, look." I, expecting some sort of trap or attack, ready to confront Tetsuya, looked in the direction in which he pointed. In the dark corner, I saw some shadows moving. I counted 4 of them. The light was poor, and I could still not make out what had shocked him so much. Cats or dogs? "Come on, my dears, come out. Kitty, kitty, kitty," Tetsuya hissed. The shapes shifted, but did not move from their spot. I was getting frustrated. "Why did you drag me here? Haven't I seen enough cats?" "These aren't cats," Tetsuya said, clearly offended. "They are cats, can't you see?" I snapped. I was irritated and thought to myself, I knew it. You can't trust him. You can't trust this guy. Tetsuya kept calling them, making kissy sounds, but I was about to leave when one of the creatures, clearly tired of his persistence, stepped forward into the faint light. I froze. It was not a cat. Tetsuya was right. But it wasn't much different. The creature that emerged had the head of a cat, but its body was like that of a baby, slightly covered in fur, almost like a strange, remade toy. A cat's tail hung from behind. Cautiously, like it was unsure, it moved closer, its tail twitching, its ears flicking. It stopped about 3 meters away, staring at Tetsuya, then shifted its gaze to me, then back to Tetsuya. "Now, my dears," Stepusya said, rummaging in his pockets. He pulled out a piece of sausage and tossed it toward the creature. At first, it flinched, noticing the movement, but quickly calmed down, grabbed the food, and ran back to the others. I've got enough for all of you, Stepusya said, pulling out 3 more pieces and tossing them into the strange group. There was a hissing sound. Then the creatures began chomping down on the food. Who are they? I asked, amazed. Cat uncles, Stepusya replied, casually, as if that explained everything. Who? I asked, even more confused. Well, the cat uncles, he explained. I saw them here yesterday, so I decided to feed them today. I wanted to show them to you. But where did they come from? What is this, really? I asked. Stepusya threw out some guesses. Aliens, evil spirits that devour reason. But I just stood there, staring at the figures in the darkness. The largest one, clearly the father, sat in front, chewing his piece. Off to the side, near a rusty pipe, sat the mother, feeding the smaller creatures, presumably the children. They barely paid attention to us, though the father occasionally perked up, lifting his cat-like head to listen, watching for any threat, or perhaps waiting for more food. All right, let's go, Stepusya said, grabbing my elbow and pulling me up. We will feed you again in the evening. I could not find the words to respond, so I just followed him. I did not really want to leave. I wanted to study these strange creatures more closely. The way an adult sees things is different from how a child does. If I saw these cat grandfathers now, I would probably running to get some pills, but back then, I was about 11 years old, and I was not scared. I was just mildly surprised. After all, there were stranger things in the world. Planes flew, trees grew by themselves, and there were odd giraffes, so why not cat grandfathers? I probably just had not read about them before. After the basement, Stepusya and I went to play outside and only returned to the creatures in the evening. This time, we brought them cheese sandwiches, which I made quietly while my mother cleaned. I studied them some more before we left. We only told a few people about the creatures, those who would often sneak into the barracks for the frills. The adults never learned about these creatures. And so, we had our own secret. Every day, one of us would sneak food from the kitchen to feed these strange creatures. Oddly, they did not like fish or regular cat food, but they loved squash caviar, cheese, and turkey pate. Sometimes, we would play with them. The cat children would stretch their little pink hands towards us, tugging at our clothes, hair, cheeks, and mouths. They would make strange hissing sounds, like a fizzy pop from a candy, and move their ears. They seemed to be giggling quietly. At first, the father would rush over, hissing at his children and swatting them away with his little pink hand. But after a while, he got used to us, allowing his children to play with us. The father cat uncle spent most of his time eating and making sure everything was in order. If one of us was too rough with the cat uncle children, he would hiss, rush over, and push us away. Sometimes, he even swatted at us. Once, Stepusya got carried away and started pulling one of them by the tail just for fun. The creature struggled and cried, but Stepusya would not let go. That is when the father cat uncle charged at him, knocking him to the ground, and began hitting him with his little fists. Stepusya eventually pushed him off, but he learned his lesson and never did it again. The mother cat uncle, on the other hand, was more concerned with food, organizing her share for everyone. She did not pay much attention to the children's games. Sometimes, we brought candy. The cat children loved it, but even more, they enjoyed playing with the wrappers. They would gather them in a far corner, smoothing them out and creating a collection. We also brought them paper and pencils and taught them to draw. They loved drawing, though their art mostly consisted of knives, sabers, and other weapons, which did not seem unusual to us at the time. We spent almost all of our free time with them in the basement, until one day, we were caught. I am not sure whether the adults figured it out on their own, or if someone let it slip. but one of our group's fathers decided to check the basement. When he came down the stairs, we were all startled. That was the end of our secret. How would the adults react to these creatures? The father cat uncle hissed and shushed his family. In moments, they vanished behind a rusty pipe. This eased my nerves a little, but still. "Dad, don't go in there," one of us shouted, but it was too late. He was already downstairs. For a moment, he just stood there, white as a sheet, staring at the corner. Then suddenly, he doubled over and vomited on the floor. He screamed so loudly that we all jumped. "Get out of here, quickly." He grabbed whoever he could by the collar and yanked them outside. The rest of us, frightened, scrambled to follow. Once outside, he threw up again, bent over, gasping for air like a fish. We just stood there, confused and scared. Even then, I thought, was he really that scared of them? His son rushed over to him and asked, "Dad, what's wrong with you?" He stayed silent, breathing deeply, then stood up, took 3 deep breaths and yelled, "Everyone, go home now. I am telling your parents everything, you little brats." What could we do? We ran. That evening, my mother got a call. I was playing Sega when she suddenly appeared, slapped me hard on the back of the head, which hurt a lot, and yanked the plug out of the console. The screen went blank, then she said, "So that you don't even think about going near that house again." "What's wrong?" I asked, both offended and in pain. "Don't talk back to me," she snapped. With that, she stormed out, slamming the door behind her. I followed, still not understanding what was happening. Is it because of the cat grandfathers? What is the problem? She gave me another slap and forbade me from leaving the house at all. I did not dare protest, but I was filled with resentment. What was wrong with us playing with them? They were strange, yes, but so what? They never hurt us. They were peaceful. Stapusha got in trouble, but that idiot brought it on himself. I did not understand why the adults were so upset. They always want to ruin everything. A few days later, when I was finally allowed outside, I understood why my parents had reacted the way that they did. They told me to not even look in the direction of the barracks and threatened to ban me from Sega and TV for life, so I stuck to my yard. That is when I ran into one of the other kids. I could not hold in my frustration and started venting my grievances. When I finished, he said, "So, you didn't know? They found the bodies, a father, a mother, and 2 kids. I did not see them myself, but they say that they were almost completely decomposed. There were a lot of police near the barracks. They went in wearing gas masks. It was impossible to breathe in there." Those words hit me like a punch to the stomach. What bodies? What gas masks? I fought back and realized that we had been there, all of us, and never saw anything like that. We only saw the cat grandfather, and that was it. But the news and the police said otherwise. Soon after, someone set fire to the barracks, and all that remained was just ashes. We talked about it for months. Then somehow, the whole thing faded into the background. Now, when I think about it, I cannot figure it out. Was it really like that, or did we all imagine it? Could there have been some kind of mushrooms in there that caused hallucinations, or maybe the gas from the decay messed with our fragile young minds? Did it even happen at all? Maybe it was just a dream, and over time, the dream mixed with my memories of reality. Maybe it never even happened. Be a few days before NYE 2013. I decided to go camping with my friend. He is 26, I am 20. He is the real outdoorsy type and loves camping. I have never been before and don't know shit. Convinces me it will be fun and we will make friends at the campsite. We are going on his Yamaha motorbike. I can ride, but have not gotten my license. Have to pack the bare minimum, plus booze and weed. He lives in Ballarat, so I take the train up and we ride down to Forest, where we are staying. Campsite is Lake Elizabeth, if you know it. Not too many people there on that day. 2 couples and their dog, a bogan family with children, a family of Asians. Well, fuck this. He says don't worry, closer to NYE, younger people will arrive. At this point, I just want to go and find a place to stay in Lorne, but that will be all booked out. We stay 2 days, next day will be NYE. So far another group has rocked up, a bunch of 20-year-olds. They turn out to be all religious, and all they do at night is have a barbecue, not even drink or anything. At least I got a few snags off of them. Yes, I am aware of how Aussie this sounds. Finally, my friend agrees that this place is fucking shit. We pack up our shit, and just in case, we tell the religious group to please save our spot in case more people come. We leave and decide to try our luck in Lorne anyway, and if we can't find anywhere, we can always come back to Forest. Spend a few hours in Lorne, absolutely nowhere. We could try Apollo Bay, but it's already getting late-ish, and it will probably be full too. Ride back to Forest. The campsite is fucking full. Religious group, nowhere to be seen. It's like 7 PM now. We try and find a tiny place to squeeze in, but not even kidding, it's fucking full. Ask the Bogan family who was there when we got there what the fuck is up with that. Tell us they come up every year. It always gets full right before NYE apparently. So fucking pissed at this point, having a small breakdown too. Friend tells me to chill the fuck out. We will just camp somewhere illegally. No big deal, he does it all of the time. I'm a bit of a pussy, but we have no other choice. In between Forest and Lorne, there is some pretty dense forest, but there is no road going through it, so you have to go kind of around and then go off the road. Good thing his bike is built for off-road and on-road. Okay, here is where it starts getting weird. Get maybe 2 kilometers into the bush when we find a clearing. Made sure that we knew what direction we were going on the compass. Like 8:30 PM now. It is daylight savings, so it does not get really dark until 9:30. Put up our tent and shit. Can't make a fire because it's fucking Australia and it is dangerous. Eat dinner, smoke some weed, and we had to go to bed for a little while after that. Wake up at some point. I have no idea what time it is, and I don't know why I woke up until I hear it. Something is fucking walking around the campsite. Sounds fucking big. There is also this foul smell, like meat, that has been in the sun rotting for a week. I am frozen in fear at this point and staring at the entrance of the tent. My friend is fast asleep. The fucking thing brushes against the entrance of the tent. It sounds like it is sniffing. Suddenly, I hear it leave. I am frozen in my position for like 40 minutes before I wake up my friend and tell him what happened. He dismisses it and calls me a pussy, says it's probably a kangaroo or something. But what about that smell? For fuck's sake, Anon, I can't smell anything. Just go to sleep. Be next day. It's NYE. The night before's incident, semi-forgotten. I decided it was probably just a kangaroo that rolled in something dead or some shit. Friend says that by now, there is no chance of us finding some other accommodation, so we should just stay here again for that night. But during the day, let's go to the beach. We are getting the motorbike ready when this fucking random guy walks into the clearing. Nearly shit myself because I thought it was like a forest protection guy, but he was not wearing the uniform. Introduces himself as Jack, says he is camping out here illegally too, and can't believe that he found other people. Says he heard the motorbike last night, but came and checked this morning, and that his camp is a little over 300 meters away. Talked to him for a while. Seems like an alright guy. Asks us how we met. It's actually a funny story. We met because we found out that we were dating the same girl. Instead of fighting each other for the 2-timing girl, we ended up becoming good mates. He laughs. We tell him we are going to the beach for the day and coming back, but we probably won't find the same spot, so I guess this is goodbye. I wouldn't be so sure of that. Humans have an excellent sense of direction when they need it. Something about that statement just creeped me the fuck out. Like how he said humans and not our. We go to the beach for the day and meet some chicks, but that is not really relevant for the story. We are coming back around 4 p.m. and we go off the road once again. Make it a little way in and find a clearing. Friend says this is the exact same clearing we were at before, but it definitely wasn't. Other clearing had a tree stump on the side, and this one doesn't. Friend says there was not a tree stump at the other one. Suddenly, Jack fucking appears again. He tells us that this is not the same clearing, but it is nearby, and his camp is pretty close to us now, and that is how he knew where we are. Friend is talking to Jack about camping shit. I tell them I need to go to the toilet. I am walking out into the woods, and I decide to try and find Jack's campsite. He wasn't lying about it being close. I stumbled upon it after like 100 meters. It was so fucking messy. There were pots and shit lying all over the place. The tent zipper was halfway down, which any camper knows not to do because bugs get in. Notice there is no car or anything like that. Draw the conclusion he must hike or something. Suddenly notice that fucking smell. Same smell I noticed the night before. Start getting this like instinctual fear, and I start backing away to go back the way I came. Hear this deafening screech come from somewhere in the distance ahead of me. Like no other animal or human sound I've ever heard in my life. Hear it again, and it is closer. I am so fucking scared, and I sprint towards camp. Hear a voice somewhere to the right of me. Hey kid, hold up, I heard it too. Jack's voice. I don't stop or look, I just keep running. Burst into clearing and see my friend. I am really upset, so he knows I'm not making shit up, and he listens to my story. Tells me that Jack told him he was leaving, and that he had gone back to his campsite 10 minutes ago. I say that's impossible, because I saw the campsite, and it was all messy, and Jack was not there, and I heard him in the woods. Friend says Jack was probably in the middle of packing up, and went for a piss when I was at his camp, and that I definitely imagined his voice in the woods, and the screech was just some animal in distress. Looking on, why don't we go check his campsite together? I don't want to, but after some convincing, I lead the way. Get to Jack's clearing, and everything is gone. Friend smirks at me, and says he has to go piss, and to wait here, because he does not know the way back. He disappears into the bushes. This is normal for him. He hates pissing in front of other people. Suddenly see this flash of white I had not noticed before. I look up. It's a ripped t-shirt hanging from a tree branch. It has blood on it. I start freaking out again and yell for my friend. Hear that fucking screech again. I sprint. Somehow end up going a different direction to the campsite, so I stop after about 200 meters, otherwise I will get too lost. I am panting, and I am sitting there for about 5 minutes before I hear this weird, kinda high-pitched sound. Becomes clearer. I realize it is my friend's voice calling my name. .relief.png. I call out to him, and we find each other through the sound of our voices. Did you hear that fucking screech? It is the same one I heard at Jack's camp. Yeah, I did, Anon. Weird, right? Do you know where our camp is from here? I know the general direction, and we end up back at the camp. I tell him about the white shirt. He agrees that it is creepy. Well, at least Jack is gone now. We can spend tonight here. Get that instinctual feeling again, like I had at Jack's camp. Nah, man, we should get out of here. This place is creeping me out. Friend suddenly gets really angry. What the hell, Anon? I can't believe you're going to back out of something just because you think it's a bad situation. Remember when we first met and that girl was playing with both us, but instead of fighting each other, we turned that bad situation around and became friends. I think this is a really weird thing to say. Like, it doesn't really fit into the context of what was going on, you know? Nah, I really think we should leave. We hardly have any food or water left as well. Why don't we just go back to Ballarat and hang with Jesse and them? Finally, he fucking agrees. Before we go, can you just come with me into the woods for a sec? I need to pee, but that fucking screech scared the shit out of me. I kind of follow him a few steps until my brain clicks. Start smelling a whiff of that foul scent again, and I remember that my friend is the kind of guy who needs privacy when he pisses, even if he is scared. Nah dude, just fucking hold it in. I don't want to go anywhere but be out of these woods. He reluctantly agrees, and we pack up the tent. Mostly me doing the work. He's just sitting and watching me, which is weird because it is his shit, and he is really protective over his camping gear. I pack the saddlebag for the bike and wait for him to get on. Gives me this weird look. Can't you ride this time? I am feeling really weird now. Tell him he knows I can ride, but I don't have my license. I'm really tired. Can you just ride today? We will be fine. I agree. I just want to get the fuck out of there. He gets on behind me and puts his hands tightly around my waist, which he knows you don't need to do because we have a backplate. I check the compass, and after a while, we get onto the road, and after an hour I pull over because we will be getting on the highway soon. Tell him we need to switch just in case I get pulled over. He gets on, but asks where we're going. I can't believe this shit. Tell him we're going back to his house. Ended up having to direct him back. I knew now that something seriously weird was going down with him, and he also knew that I knew this, because what person forgets where they live? No point green texting the rest of the story, but basically, I got the fuck out of his house when we got there, because I could not stand to be in the same room as him anymore. On the trip, things like clicked together in my brain, like how he only knew things after I said them, and how he only knew about how we met because we had told Jack, and Jack was definitely involved in this somehow. And also, he's been really fucking different since that camping trip. Like, he has this dog, which he has had for 12 years. He loves that fucking dog, man. Like, it is his best friend, and when we got to his house, he did not even greet it or pat it, and that is seriously not right for him. Hey, I hope you've enjoyed the story so far. If you do and you want to hear more, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment down below, as it lets the algorithm know that you like my content and it promotes it to more people. My goal for the channel is to hit 50,000 subscribers, and we're closing in fast, so thank you, and back to the stories. I live in rural Pennsylvania in a large, old house with my wife. There is no one around for a mile or so, and the back, 270 degrees of the perimeter is all woods. The house has 2 stories and a basement. The basement has all of my workout stuff, the big screen, my PC, etc., so I spend most of my time down there. The house has a ton of windows. Literally every room in the house has at least 2 large windows. Every time I walk past the windows at night, I am always afraid of seeing someone peer in. My wife has mentioned to me several times about paranormal things she's experienced in the house, but I just tell her to forget about them. I don't dare tell her I experience the same things in case I scare her. The scariest / strangest moment we've experienced together happened in our basement at night about a month ago. We were sitting next to each other on the couch. I was sitting reading a book, one of the Codex Alera, on the couch, facing the camera, and my wife was laying down next to me, playing Torchlight on our gaming laptop. I had a hard day at work. I work for the local police department as a liaison from the DEA, and I was close to finishing my book, so I was burning through it. My wife, hating to be ignored, closed the laptop and climbed on top of me. She took her t-shirt off and started grinding me in her bra and underwear. After a moment or so, her eyes glanced past me for a split second before returning to rest on me. I did not notice because I was, distracted at the time. This went on for several minutes, and after a while, I started to get confused why my girlfriend was not proceeding. I assumed that she wanted me to take the initiative, so I reached both of my hands behind her to unclasp her bra. As soon as I was about to undo it, she whispered for me to stop through her grinning teeth. Naturally, I was confused and slightly annoyed, so I asked, "Why the hell not?" "Because there is a man looking in through the window," she replied. After mulling this over for all of 1 second, I yelled, "What?" turned around and looked at the window. At the window in the door, I could clearly see the somber face of a middle-aged man. His eyes were on me as he lifted a hand into view, extended his index finger, and waved it side to side. Immediately, I was flooded with fear and a complete sense of dread, but that was replaced quickly by adrenaline and anger at the thought of my privacy being violated. I knocked my wife to the ground unceremoniously as I jumped and hoisted myself over the couch. In 2 quick strides, I met the door and threw it open with all of the force I could muster. To my complete surprise, there was no one there. The leaves on the ground where the man would have been standing were completely undisturbed, as were the leaves surrounding those that would have been tossed aside if he sprinted away. All I heard was complete silence, which would have been impossible if anyone would have moved through the leaves. I came back inside, and my wife was hiding behind the couch, staring over the top of it at me. After I helped her calm down, I asked her what she saw. She told me that soon after she climbed on top of me, she noticed some movement outside. She was stricken with fear as she saw a man standing by the back door. She felt all the strength leave her body, but something inside her told her not to look at that person. She said instinctively, her whole being told her to ignore it, like she was not meant to see it. However, occasionally, she would sneak a glance at the man, and he always had a sad, somber, yet intense expression. At first, she thought it was her imagination or a reflection or something, despite it being absolutely clear. It was only when he silently coughed into his fist that she realized it was not something simple. Me reaching behind her back broke her trance she was in and gave her the strength to tell me he was there. Next, she said that after I jumped over the couch, she saw the man glide inhumanly to the left before I reached the door. Because of the way he slid, she expected to see him walk by the window to the left. Her fear was replaced by confusion when he did not appear. The days following the incident were pretty normal. I had a few of my co-op buddies coming over the next day to watch football, and I mentioned it to them. We poked around outside, searching for any evidence, but we could not find any. For a week or two following the incident, both our cats refused to come down the basement steps, and whenever we carried them down to eat or use the litter pens, they would hiss and screech at the basement door while clawing to get away. We don't spend much time in the basement or first floor anymore, and ever since that night, I've carried my firearm on me at all times. Even as I post this, with my back to the basement door, I get chills thinking about that night.